Talk about
Yeah,
Mandalorian
talk a little
as well.
Mandalorian.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
man.
Where are we up to? So we're up to season 2,
Yeah. Well,
episode 3, but it
Feels like
technically
episode
it's
4
11,
comes out this
right?
week.
Episode 11.
Well, no, we've watched episode 11. We're up to episode 12 this coming
All
week.
right.
Ahsoka possibly.
I think they might give you one more teaser episode. I
Surely
think maybe,
not.
like they said, that's what he's going to do. I feel like they're going to find a way to drag it out
Oh.
a little bit further.
I still reckon they've already teased. I guarantee that was her in that hood when they're at that market when they rock up.
Oh, spoiler alert, by the way, guys.
No, that
Spoiler
was
alert.
Sasha Banks' character.
You should have been watching Mandalorian, but if you haven't,
Ooh.
spoilers ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all,
anyway,
how good
why don't we just talk about
Mandalorian, the
how good
Mandalorian series
is.
is one of the best series I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The way that it's Star Wars, but it doesn't have to be about the Jedi, but it's still
the Skywalker
as good.
storyline.
We're done with the hero rising up and defeating the villain, whatever. We've got this new show about like the, what would you call them?
It's almost a religious kind of race, isn't it? I mean, how would you explain
you have a
Mandalorians, right?
special warrior kind of cult race, I guess.
The creed,
But, like,
they're a creed.
I love how the show, it doesn't have to be every episode is about the main quest.
No, not
like
at all.
you can chuck in a few little filler side quest episodes in there and it's just as
It's
good,
the
if
way
not
that
better.
The Witcher should be.
Yeah, The Witcher could have been done the
It's
exact
Basically,
same way.
how the Witcher should have been done.
Yeah.
You can say from as you said, we're starting at season 2 here, but the show as a whole is just very basic. It's just the Mandalorian, especially from this season. He needs to take this baby that he acquired in the first
Fucking
season,
adorable, by the way.
Baby Yoda, as we know.
Yodi, dude.
and he needs to
It's actually the
return
child,
it.
guys. It's not the
He's been
child.
quested with him to return
Yeah,
to the
to
Jedi.
return to the Jedi, which is something in the mythology. It seems that after the fall of the Empire, that the Jedi has become something of sort of like an obscurity or like
Almost a myth, right?
a myth
Right.
now, as in like
It's literally just fucking Luke out on the island drinking fucking green milk.
they talk about them like they're
Bringing
old,
up the
like
titty
an
juice,
old-
dude.
Yeah.
Bringing up the titty
Too soon, man,
juice.
too soon.
It's gonna
An
wipe
old
that
religion.
green
Though-
fucking milk off my.
They're not-
Dude, the face that he pulls after
Oh
he
my
drinks the
God.
titty milk.
Though not to
Yeah.
go
Haunt me
too
forever.
off into the deep there,
me
but
after chalky
when,
milk, dude.
does
Warm Milo.
in the newer Star Wars movies, they talk about Luke training up all the Jedi and all, like when was that meant to
Including
happen?
Ben Solo, yeah.
Including him, right? So when was that meant to happen, right? Because shouldn't that be directly after the fall of the Empire? He starts his school, starts
Essentially,
training.
yeah, it would
So
be.
really, they should be a prominent force in the galaxy, right? We're going to go deep.
I think he only started training a few, and then I think he stopped.
Oh, okay. Because it seemed like they're kind of talking like there's a whole school of them that he was training, right?
Yeah. I think all those school became the Knights of Ren. I think
That's what
happened
I was-
when Luke tried to go and
That's
kill
why I was literally just about to
Kylo
ask. I was
in his
wondering
sleep or
if
when he was a
that's-
kid or whatever. I think all of
They're not
the
really like
other
Jedi
students
though,
became the
right?
Knights of
Yeah,
Ren.
they don't have
Yeah.
fucking lightsabers, and then
Anyway,
and
yeah,
Ben
we're
Solo
getting
just
off.
fucking
Mandalorian.
Yeah,
but
so
like-
run back
Dude,
to
we gotta
Mandalorian.
stay on
To run back to
task here,
the,
dude.
so run back to this start of this episode. The ship's falling apart. He's just left the ice planet from the last episode, and
Little
he's
squiggly spiders.
would have to say like it's a bit of a homage for the start of this episode.
It's
where,
alien. It's
no,
aliens.
but it's like Apollo 13 when the ship's coming back through the atmosphere and it's burning up and like you
The
can
first
see
episode of the season was Clint Eastwood, you know, it's like any western, spaghetti western kind of vibe. The second
but,
one almost had your aliens feel with the eggs cracking open. That was
on the ice
second
planet.
one, correct? Yeah.
which
But
is
the
something. You know
but
what's
the
something
first
else?
one was such a good little tickle for
Loved
what's
it.
to come.
I loved it.
Like you think you're gonna get Boba, you see the armor. It's not Boba. He has to do a task to get the armor, which brings him onto his.
You see a little
Next
twizzle
part of his journey.
over at the end. It was
They
awesome.
really had to tingle your balls with a teaser and a cameo, dude. Like, oh my god.
It shows how smart he is
They-
taking on the sand dragon as well. Like he's totally calm
I
under
think it was
pressure,
called the
knows he
crate-
can beat it.
Crate dragon.
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought initially from that episode when it starts off, you know, like it was a weird stop off, if that makes sense. Like it felt like a little bit of a strange because like the
Well,
finale of the
finale,
first season
it's
was like a
very
big deal, as you said.
plot-driven,
Yeah,
right? You've
yeah,
got
and then
the
this
big
one's just kind of
reveal,
like,
the-
oh, he's just stopped off at
Is it
Gideon?
Tatooine? Moff Gideon?
Macca's by the fucking look.
Yeah,
of it.
Moff
like a
Gideon
ma-
has his
Moss
reveal,
Palos, wasn't it?
and he has the saber, the dark saber comes out. You're like, whoa! And then technically
Well,
it's going to
so-
carry on to the next episode because they're saying it's episode 9, not season 2,
Yeah,
episode 1.
season 2,
and
episode
yet it
1.
is really a filler episode to start, which I loved. But
I liked it as well.
you know, it's
Hey,
been
I
an
don't
odd
care
pace.
if they could pump the whole show out in like 3 seasons if they stick to the main quest.
I'm cool.
I'm happy if they sprinkle scoopfuls of fucking filler
Buckets,
episodes in there. I could watch it forever, man.
Because it also thaws out the whole universe as well. I mean, it's
Yeah.
real. Like so far, look at like the first 3 episodes. You've got obviously Tatooine. The second episode, they go to an ice planet. I don't remember what that was called. And the third one, it's like mostly on the sea, right? That's
Yeah.
3
Yeah,
different geographical kind of planets with different kind of alien life forms that are generally,
Yeah,
you know,
I
The
like that. It
environment
definitely
is-
does flesh
awesome.
out.
The environment's
Fleshes out the whole
fantastic.
universe, and that's so cool to watch.
That's something that becomes a little bit stale with the Star Wars franchise in general. Is there's so many desert planets, right? They're like all the time it's taking
Jeddah,
place on some sort of fucking
Tatooine.
desert, and like God, it is just so refreshing to have the color palette, especially changing with this.
Yeah.
How
with this
authentic does
show.
it look too? Like
Yeah.
paying that homage
You were saying to me about how it's filmed, the way that they do the
Yeah, so
lights
it's-
around each.
So it's
individual
filmed now. It's
character.
a really new, and it's obviously slightly on a smaller budget way to do it, but with LED screens in the background, right?
Yeah.
And it
It's
has
like a giant circular
kind of
circular
screen really.
screen that just kind of it's like a
so
yeah,
cool.
how
It's
it
just
has
one
like wherever the
fuck-off
camera
green
is.
Yeah.
So
Literally.
wherever the
Yeah.
camera goes,
Yeah, but it's not green screen though.
not
It's
green
actually
screen,
like a
LED,
straight up
yeah.
screen.
All the
and
backgrounds
it's
are
like
done.
programmed like a game almost in the way that it's simulated. So when the camera moves, everything moves.
The background
behind as
moves
well.
with
I mean,
it,
it's just
moves behind it,
and it looks
yeah.
amazing.
It
Right?
helps light. It helps light everything as
It's
well.
mostly
as
the
you said,
lighting
because,
and effects.
because he's wearing like a metal armor. The green screen, the green light reflects of it. Whereas this one, he's getting the correct light reflecting off the armor. For one, it looks a lot more authentic.
It's so
as I
crisp,
said.
dude.
And
It looks
I'm
fantastic.
no visual effects person, right? You know, but they seem to say that most time what makes visual effects look bad is that the lighting does not match the visual effects they put in. That is not something they can hardly kind of recreate. So to have that is why it looks so fucking phenomenal. You know?
Crazy for like a show like this, how much has gone into it. It's not even part of the Skywalker series like we're talking about, and literally like there's this little behind the scenes thing that shows after it if you watch it on Disney Plus. There
You attach and connect with these characters, and like every time Baby Yoda, for example, is in trouble, you are sitting at the edge of your seat, like, oh no, like.
Like the scene in season 1 where he
Yeah.
gets caught by the scouts.
Yeah, and you're just like, you were like
Dude.
on the edge. You do not want anything to happen to that baby.
dude, this
Right?
recent episode, he gets chucked in the fucking like
Yeah,
that
and this
little
giant sea monster's mouth.
The Kraken,
Oh
dude.
my God, I
Looking
didn't-
like the Kraken, yeah.
Right.
Alright,
So,
so with episode 2 though, and the whole he likes to eat eggs business. Come on. It's
Cutest
the
fucking thing ever.
fucking best. It's
Yeah.
the funniest thing ever.
Also, like, you feel bad for this frog lady. You
kinda
know,
odd.
last of her species, she's got to
Yeah.
reproduce, and
That's why
kids
it's
are
so
just getting
funny,
eaten
though.
by Baby
And I
Yoda.
don't know,
Also,
like, if she
little bit
knows
of
that,
a-
but like at the end of that last one, that's it. Like Baby
The
Yoda
last
is,
one
like,
is-
playing with like one of their spawn, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
It's like it just ate all the rest of your brothers and sisters. I just ate them. You know what I mean?
Episode 2 is so good because it starts off perfectly with the jetpack gag,
Yeah.
and then it calms off in space. They come in contact with the X-wings. They have that like
no. So remember, he ends up going back to that lady in that
yeah. So
Mos Eisley or whatever.
frizzle
that's how he gets the quest to deliver the
Yeah,
eggs.
and she's like cooking the dragon meat on the fucking
Yeah.
the jet turbine engine.
Apparently, that's an Easter egg to one of like Disneyland or somewhere have like a
Yeah.
fucking restaurant built around that idea. Apparently,
But
that's what that's about.
When they go out on the quest and stuff goes wrong, as it always does, that is the best content for anything that's ever gone wrong in Mandalorian. Like when they crash and you think that the cold is the worst of their problems, and then
I like that as well.
you
as you
run
said,
into
like,
the alien,
when-
non-aliens.
I love
Come
the
on.
idea when they had the two X-wings who are patrolling, I guess, like looking for sort of like runaways and like potential Empire,
Yeah. Well, they're almost just like your casual highway patrol, aren't they?
They're on
Yeah, it's
patrol.
kinda weird,
That's
isn't it?
exactly
I like
it.
that, right? So
but
they're
the
pulling him over,
dialogue
right?
for them
They're-
is so good,
Yeah.
especially at the
I
end.
They
love
look
seeing the
too.
effect
They
of
look
like the ships like
amazing.
floating in the windows as well, as if like it was like old school
Right.
from the original
See,
Star
we're all
Wars.
just
Like they
suckers
actually
though,
look like
right?
they're just
we're all just
hanging on
suckers for
some
the old
wires.
ones. We're just like, that looks so great. If no one saw Star Wars and they saw that come out, they'd be like, that probably looks fucking shit.
Yeah, the
What do you
effect is
mean, the
purpose-
old Star Wars or Mandalorian?
No, like OG,
Original, but,
like the
because
original
it's
trilogy.
Yeah, I
paying
mean-
respect to that, and we're like, fuck yeah, that looks amazing because we're
but we understand
nostalgic, right?
We understand what went into
but
it
it doesn't look
at the
that,
time.
Doesn't look that good now. But
No,
we
it
just
doesn't.
love
Look
it
at
so much.
look at Yoda in
Yeah.
episode 6.
Yeah, I mean, oh, in
in
Revenge
the
of the
old
Sith.
ones.
No.
Yeah, he's
the
like a
old-
puppet.
Yeah, the
like
puppets. Yeah, of course.
The amount of like
a puppet.
the amount of
I like
nods
puppet.
to the original like trilogy of just the
Yeah.
old puppeteer, like but then they do that little bit of a
Well,
modern touch with that CGI, and just
once-
it's that absolute.
once
perfect
It just looks
combination.
way more authentic.
I'm actually,
Absolutely.
I'm going to
When
delve
they
in a bit
blend.
too much here, but apparently what they do is it's a puppet for this new one, right? With Mandalorian,
animate
sorry.
it.
But when every time you see him like walk around, it is CGI, but they try to get him to move like a puppet in the CGI so that it looks like always like a puppet, even though it's CGI.
They've struck gold with it. They really have.
That's what I'm saying. It's literally just a table full of Star Wars nerds, and
I feel a
they
shell.
direct the series, and they're just like,
Well,
give it.
Yeah, but what they have honed in on, as I said, the main point, and which is why you should watch this show, is that Star Wars and the fan base that it has built in the last 40 plus years was because you attach yourself to the characters, right? You love the characters. You can remember their names. You know where they come from. You know everything about them, and you attach yourself to them, and you want to see their journey. And this is a new character, like this Mandalorian fella, who is the protagonist of the show. You care about him, and you start to like this guy, and you learn all about him, and just as the show goes along, and you root for him. And like in every single character that goes along in the show, you really attach yourself to, as you said, and you start to root for them, and you start to really want to learn more about them. And I think, especially with this new trilogy, like the Disney trilogy, like episode 7, 8, and 9, the characters they introduce, you just don't care about.
we're
right?
opening a can
Ray,
of worms.
no
We're
one
going
gives a
down
fuck
that.
about Ray
Yeah,
or
we don't-
Do
Finn
that on
or
another
Poe or whatever the
episode,
fuck.
shall we?
Well,
I just don't.
can't.
You just don't connect with them, right?
No,
you just
we don't. To
Mandalorian
put that
from
to bed,
episode
no.
1. From episode 1, you are already like pumped
Is
to
that
see
like
where this guy
is
goes.
that a cheeky thing of just, all right, let's just bring the most adorable little thing that can come
there's a
out
little
of
bit
Star
something.
Wars?
No, it's a lot of things.
That's
They've
like
struck
bringing a
gold with
minion out,
everything.
or like just it's a little bit of a
Dude, they-
cheap way of doing it, but they did it so perfectly that it just really brings a character in, because it's a little fucking Yoda. Like, who thought you'd want to see like Baby Yoda or like anything like that?
It's the choice of characters, it's the cinematography, and it's the dialogue. And
It's the perfect blend, as
it's
you said,
all
of like visual effects created with CG and with legitimate practical effects and
hard to flaw
puppeteering.
it.
And
really
be-
is.
and it's the best parts of Star Wars as
Yeah,
we
well.
all
Like
love
it's
it.
not like the Mandalorian is something new. Like Boba and Jango Fett were popular in the old Star Wars as well. So their storyline has a lot of the lore with the Mandalore is
But
cream
that's what I'm
thick.
saying. Like the show takes you on a journey, and you want to go on this journey with him. And he's going to a whole lot of different planets and locations. And
Which
he does seem
tends to beg the question, like the real question: will there be a Mandalorian video game?
There should be.
Surely.
Hey, wait,
Look,
let
if
me
it- if
ask
it-
you.
even
Let me
if
ask
it's-
you something.
like,
Do you
come
like
on.
money?
Oh yeah,
Like
did
money?
Disney like money?
I know
No
Disney
more frequent
does.
flyer pitch, my boy.
But
Would I buy it?
But would that
So
take
would.
away the the essence of the actual series itself?
the essence.
The essence.
I don't think so. I
No?
don't think so. I'm going to say no.
I would love to play a
Comment
Mandalorian
below,
game.
but no.
Not necessarily following him, like, because we're playing it out on the show. I'd like to see a Mandalorian game from, like, the OG, like, the beginning of the culture itself.
Like a
And
Boba
Hey,
Fett one or
I'd
something
love to
like that.
play it.
yeah, something.
You know your boy Wooch. Wooch likes to play games. If they did a Mandalorian game, it doesn't have to be.
Following this particular
It doesn't
guy.
have to be this specific Mandalore in the series.
Anything.
But hey, you get a fucking Mandalore that goes on a semi decent story,
Chicken
like
run, dude. I don't care.
and then you have some upgradables. Like, hey, look, you got Pesca armor, Beskar armor, piece at a time. You get your
Sick,
fucking
dude.
rockets here and there. Yeah, the
Now,
game would be
wait,
pretty
how awesome was it to, was it episode 2, when he has Boba's, I think it's Boba's jetpack.
So the
One of
first
the-
episode of this, the one with
The
the
first one.
missile, that we
Yeah,
finally
and
get
he's
that
finally
reveal
get
of
to
what
see-
that is.
No, but
That
what's his
little
name?
antenna thing.
yeah, his
um,
name.
I can't think of his name, but the character who's wearing Boba's armor.
He's the
Timothy
see what that
Oliphant.
Timothy
he's-
Oliphant, yeah. You see
Not
that
Josh
that
Duhamel.
he's the sheriff of the town.
good. Yeah.
you see that thing that looks
Little
like a little like a
antenna.
Yeah.
antenna is actually like an aimer
Yeah.
that flips down, and then he like bends down and
Tracking
fires this
system,
missile,
yeah.
and like just it looked real like
We've always
Iron.
seen it.
was kind of like Iron Man, like the first Iron Man when he like
Cheeky
shoots
John
the tank.
Favreau, little,
Yeah.
I wonder.
Favreau.
I wonder if that's written in lore, like in Star Wars lore somewhere, or they just kind of made that up, right?
Probably, but they said that they pay attention to the detail, as they said, like Boba's jetpack got blown up in episode 6, and then they showed that it was the same jetpack because someone had patched up where the bullet hole was that had hit the jetpack, which, you know, as you said, when Boba gets killed, or whatever, he doesn't get killed. When he gets shot out of the air, oh no, it's Luke. I think Luke hits him with the lightsaber and it slashes his jetpack and it fires off and then he falls into the sand pit. They've, like, Star Wars fans have seen the image of the jetpack where it was slashed, and then you can see in this particular episode that they've patched that exact spot on that jetpack. Like, it's just the attention to detail is
that first episode
immaculate.
was directed by Dave Filoni, and he, like I said, he is a die-hard Star Wars nerd. So it's just those small details that he pays attention to, and that's just it's what you want.
Are they going to explain in the series?
What happens?
Him explaining the
Sarlacc and what happens?
Escaping the Sarlacc?
Well, supposedly that's why he's got no eyebrows and no hair. The acid from the Sarlacc pit has actually melted all of his hair off.
Well, there is a bit of dialogue in the first episode where they say where that was it crate dragon? Crate dragon is. How could there be such an empty kind of hole there, kind of thing? And said, well, the only way to get rid of a Sarlacc pit, because it was an empty Sarlacc pit, is to eat the Sarlacc, which means that crate dragon ate the Sarlacc. And there was kind of a lot of people were
so
saying,
Boba ate the Sarlacc.
No, the crate dragon.
Obviously kidding.
Something, and who knows? But like they kind of hinted at it a bit there.
Or because I've heard that Boba went in there after he escaped. He came back in there either
to get his armor or something.
Something like that, yeah.
What a badass.
We'll see. Hopefully they show a little flashback of it, maybe, if we're lucky.
Well, yeah.
Now, do you guys think that in this season, from what we've seen, that this will be the team-up season, and the next season will be them at odds with each other, or this will be the season where Boba and the Mandalorian will end up sort of butting heads and like will be against one another, and then they team up in the next season? Because I think that's what's coming. I think they're going to have a team up, and they're going to have like
they're going to have a fight, dude.
They're going to have a fight. I think it's just like...
What are they going to...
maybe
When they do the old switcheroo where it looks like Boba's a good guy at first and then he does some a little off color.
That's what I'm thinking, but I have a feeling that this is the season where they're going to be
taking his armor.
Maybe something
so, like,
to do with Baby
Yoda.
Yoda.
Like, "Oi, give me my armor back," but also he's going to be like, "Are you like a real Mandalorian?" Because they've had a whole bunch of other people with Mandalorian armor who aren't actually like abiding by the Mandalorian law. So it's going to be like, when you want those poses, are you actually Mandalorian?
Are technically...
And then Boba Fett's not even.
They're technically meant to be. They are meant to be.
They are
Mandalorian.
Like
they're just not going by that code. Apparently, that's really old book.
Bo-Katan, the woman who reveals herself in
Katie Sackhoff.
episode 3. What was her name?
Katie Sackhoff.
Sackhoff. I want to fucking sack off on her. Woo! She's sexy. She is technically like royalty in the Mandalorian line. So like her taking her helmet off, like obviously he's devoted to that whole religion of like helmet must stay on at all times. But she's probably more of a legit Mandalorian than he is, technically.
Okay.
Well, let's hang on. Before we go into that, something that we all sort of probably missed is that in the show, he says, "Where I go, the kid goes," right? The baby goes.
Yeah.
And then he fucking leaves the baby with the lizard people.
Plenty of times, though.
The lizard lady.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's not the only
This is
time
not
he's
the
left
way.
the baby
This
with
is not the
somebody
way,
he
okay?
relatively doesn't know.
You cannot leave the kid with these lizard people because you said this is the way, and the babe, where the baby goes, I go.
I have not spoken.
I don't
Retract.
like that. Like, he fucked up, dude.
Little Miss Frozzle from Tatooine also had the baby. For
Dude,
a
Yeah,
while.
that's what I'm saying.
Fucking, what's his name? What's the bad guy's name with the dark saber? The black guy?
Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon is probably tracking him, right, across the galaxy, and he just leaves fucking Baby Yoda with these lizard people.
He doesn't know.
Defenseless.
He doesn't know that dude's still
Can we
alive. That dude
mention-
survived a gnarly plane. What's called TIE fighter crash.
How crazy was like at the end when that commander or whatever of the ship, and this is episode 3 or episode 11, at the end there was saying, what do we kind of do? They've taken our ship, and Gideon was just like, you know the cause, and he just goes to like nosedive. The ships are just like, that's bad.
That was epic.
That's
I love
sick,
that.
man.
I also thought that whole sequence where they get onto that like Imperial ship as it's taking off, and you see like the heat vision view from the other Mandalorians' helmets.
That's
like they
cool.
have like, it's like the Predator.
Yeah,
They throw the smoke bomb through the room, and then they start just taking out all of these Imperial troops.
Which was,
and then and then they have
Dude, it
that
was
funny,
sick.
like it's one of those really well timed, humorous moments where like they trap them and like close the blast doors, and they have
exactly.
them trapped in that room and like, where have you got them locked? And he's like, oh, they're in the control center, and he's like, what?
Oh, we just left him in the room with all the money and the gold, pretty much.
Yeah,
right?
we just left him in the room with it, and then they just get ejected out of the
love
fucking
so
ship.
good. Yeah, the carrier. Yeah.
Sick.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up, but last thoughts on Mando. I mean, fuck yeah. Let's see. Hopefully, Ahsoka for this.
It's the only thing out there right now that I'm looking forward to week by week to watch.
Bit depressive.